Alright, so this is actually interesting. Multiple players that used to play for Chelsea being linked with a return.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Hey y'all, what's happening? Welcome back, friends. How you doing? Welcome back to the channel, Football Therapy, with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well. Genuinely, wholeheartedly, really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News. Lots and lots to get into today. Of course, Chelsea are on the brink of signing a Brazilian, South American teenager, a Brazilian right back, with an eye to loan him to Strasbourg. So that'll be really, really interesting to talk about. I do want to speak about some positive news in terms of players returning. I do want to talk about how actually Saudi clubs were coming in for Nkunku. Yeah. And then there's like the player return links. I want to talk about Is it Marcin Bulka? Of course, the old goalkeeper that was at Chelsea, been linked with a return. I spoke to Alex Goldberg on his playback channel yesterday about that. Very interesting indeed. Might also talk about Seshko a little bit. And as well, there is a release clause for, of course, Dom Solanke, who used to play for Chelsea. He was in his prime and scored 19 Premier League goals last season playing for Bournemouth. He's actually on Arsenal's radar as well as a Seshko alternative. And of course, there is talks about Julian Alvarez won't go away. Even Romano saying, look, he wants to play more time. He might want to go, force his way out of City. Man City have never blocked players from leaving when they want to leave, when, you know, if they feel like they're not getting played enough. That's always happened. And, of course, South American, Argentinian journalists are suggesting Chelsea are preparing an offer. You know, whether we believe that report or not, it's up to you. But as always, thank you for joining me. It's going to be a good video. I can feel it in my gonads. So, thanks for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel. I say again, we're on the road to 200,000 subscribers, which is nothing short of magnificent. So, thank you for being a part of the journey. There's old warplanes going up above my apartment in the sky. Yes, so thank you for subscribing. Let's get into it. Alright, let's talk about this kid first, Pedro Lima. Romano tweeting this: Chelsea have prepared Pedro Lima deal with Strasbourg, of course our sister club, the first of our probably many satellite clubs in our multi-club model. So the Brazilian right-back is expected to join the French club from Sport Recife. Agreement on personal terms, working on final details between the clubs to be sealed in the next days. Strasbourg move with a view of a Chelsea future. This is something we spoke about also on Goldberg's playback channel yesterday. I guested on it for a little bit. Felix Johnson was on there, knows a lot about academy players. He was saying he has no issue with this player coming in, who he believes is coming in, provided he goes to Strasbourg and just gets equal opportunity with like the academy players. Of course, Chimpong, that young right back, looks built for Premier League football. Just basically having the talent, whoever does best will eventually get a chance at Chelsea. There's this big like existential crisis at the moment with Chelsea buying all these young talented players from South America. Is it going to block the academy? Are we just going to sell academy players for pure profit? I think there is an element of that. It's cynical, it's negative, it's ruthless, it's business-like. I do also think that this is not going to be the model long term. I feel like if there's good players in the academy, they will get a chance at Strasbourg or another sister club, or indeed maybe Chelsea. And if they're good enough, they can play for Chelsea. Chelsea won't just sell their best players. They will acquire lots and lots of young talent. They think that's massively undervalued. That's the business model, the new owners, the sporting directors. Of course, the sporting directors are trying to create a style of football that they believe is going to be sustainable and good. They're doing that with Enzo Maresca, the new coach. But the ownership at large are trying to buy the best young talents in the world, not just Europe, but the world, as well as coaching them in the academy. And whoever's best will get a chance at Chelsea. They're not going to just Dortmund it and sell the best players to make money. They don't need to. So rest assured, the model is still reliant on Chelsea winning. And to win, you need the best players. So we should all, and like Twomey of The Athletic often references, this project is front-loading, whether that's buying and selling. So there should be a sort of calm after the storm, in theory. Still, talented young Brazilian right-back to go and be loaned out to Strasbourg, 17 years old. Alright then, just a quick positive note as well before we move on to the next stories. Both Wesley Fofana and Romeo Lavia are back training on the grass. They, of course, Nkunku was fit towards the end of the season, but to have a full preseason with Christopher Nkunku, Romeo Lavia, and Wesley Fofana will be massive. Of course, Wesley Fofana, he's got a bit of an issue now in terms of Tosin coming in front of him. Tosin looks like he will just start immediately, and he's a good player. And by the way, I'll say it again, an excellent acquisition by Chelsea. I do, obviously, I wax lyrical about Fofana. I love him as a player. I do think he's got the capacity, certainly pre-injury, but we'll see if he can become that player again, to be the best centre-back possibly in the world. I catch a lot of heat for gassing him up, but that's just how I feel. Of course, we signed him for £69 million, 6'9", under 70, and actually, I was very pleased with that figure, which tells you all you need to know about how this kid is. Leicester City wanted to sell him as a world record fee as a defender. They sold Harry Maguire for 80 million. By the way, and I know we all laugh at that, but Harry Maguire's stock was very high, and they're like, well, this kid's got to go more than Maguire because he's amazing. And obviously, he went for 11 million less than Harry Maguire. So, you know, the rest is history. I thought it was an excellent signing. And he's a Chelsea fan! Come on! He was like pictured in a kid as a Chelsea kid. He is a Chelsea fan. I just really want to see it happen, work. I would love Fofana and Levi Colwill to make it work at the back, personally. But, you know, whatever. I just want us to win games and be good again, that as a priority. So Tosin, whoever, just come on down. Let's make it work for now. Lavia as well, of course, he's a Joe Shields guy. And, you know, he's had hits so far, hasn't he, with Cole Palmer. Lavia has also been coached by Enzo Maresca. It's a massive, massive player to be returning. He can cost up to £58 million, Lavia. Remember, Liverpool wanted him as well. It's silly to just forget about this guy who is apparently excellent. So, I mean, we saw him play a bit in the Prem for Southampton as a teenager. But yeah, he's apparently the truth, man. So, I don't know. He's very different to our other midfielders. So, regardless, he'll be very, very useful to be back in to the squad with Maresca. Yeah, I did mention Nkunku. Nkunku will be available for pre-season as well. Of course, not selected for France because he didn't play really last season. Confirmation that from Cy Phillips that he was inquired for by Saudi clubs. They came in and said, look, can we buy Nkunku? We're going to use him. We'll give you lots of money for him. Christo will give you lots of money to come play here. He said no. Chelsea said no. He's absolutely not for sale, Chelsea said. And he's keen to start the Chelsea project again going into next season. Romano's confirmed he wants to attack this Chelsea project. He believes he can do it. He's an amazing player, Nkunku. I'm always saying this incredible finishing ability, direct, intelligent, and again, something we're lacking, a grown-up. So, like, you look at Nkunku, like, towards the front of the pitch, maybe if not the tip, like, towards the front of the pitch, and then you got Tosin at the back. These are, like, 26, 27-year-olds, just good footballers added to all this youth and talent. I'm excited. Let me be excited. Alright, so returning players, I do want to talk about Bolka. We'll end on Bolka in just a moment and talk about the goalkeeping situation generally. But yes, it had been confirmed by Adam Leventhal of The Athletic that Dom Solanke's new contract has a £65 million release clause. Now, people will think, nah, no thank you, not for me. But I tell you what, like, he's looked pretty darn good. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea should re-sign Dom Solanke. I mean, there was a time, right, when both Dom Solanke was like a prodigy, like in the youth teams. Obviously, Tammy scored a lot of goals as well. I've told this story before. Solanke was reluctant to go on the loans. Tammy went on the loans. He went to Bristol City. He went to Aston Villa in the Championship. He went to Swansea, of course, at the bottom of the Premier League, and then he got given his chance with Frank Lampard in the Premier League. Solanke sort of wanted. I don't know in terms of he believed his own hype or whatever, but I was told that he was unwilling to go on loans. Of course, then he left Chelsea. He went to Liverpool. Liverpool didn't play him, and it just, there's the Chelsea and Liverpool sort of non-success stories in that sense. And then he went to Bournemouth, stayed there for years, and he's got a good coach now in Iraola, and it's developed him into a striker. Maybe belatedly, because as a kid, this kid was ruthless in terms of scoring. It's the sheer volume of goals. He looks great. Watched him a bit more closely this season. Of course, I've watched him on and off over the years, but this season he looks like he's grown into this like final product. Of of course, he's not old, but he's not as young as he used to be, Dom Solanke. Yeah, he's 26, so he turns 27 in a couple of months. So he's in his prime. The Chelsea ownership, I don't think, will want to drop £65 million on a player that they can't give a 7+1 year deal to. Do you know what I mean? Because this will be a 4-year deal, a 4+1. If that, because he turns 27 in a couple of months. It would probably be a 3+1 or a 4-year deal. We'll do that for Tosin on a free transfer. We might even do that with players that cost less than this, but I don't see Chelsea doing that for this kind of player. Interesting. If we become desperate for a striker, we've written off Osimhen and Gyökeres, and we are not going to sign Alvarez or Seško, and we're like, we want a striker. Who knows? Maybe they will look at Dom Solanke. Because it's expensive, but it's not like crazy money. It's been spoken about Alvarez could cost 70. Like Man City would only listen to 70 million or above. So let's say that's 70 million, and he goes, I want to leave. £5 million more. If you said to me, what would you rather do? Buy Dom Solanke or spend £5 million more and buy Alvarez? I'll just choose Alvarez. Just on that basis alone, it's just really simple for me. Sure, Alvarez hasn't scored the amount of Premier League goals that Solanke has, but he hasn't been on penalties. He hasn't played in his favoured striking spot as a first choice. And I know he plays for Man City, and you get way more chances to score goals than Bournemouth. But still, before we speak about Bolka, who Alex Goldberg dropped a load of knowledge on me yesterday when I was on the show, he also showed some clips of Seško. I had watched some highlights of Seško. I love his hang time in the air, but he showed some technical ability, running down the right wing. You're doing like Zidane's and nutmegs or skills or whatever to get down the right flank, and he's fast. Look, I think he's favourites to go to Arsenal. Certainly that's what the rags are kind of implying. Arsenal are looking at Solanke as a backup, but he looks like a good player. He looks like a good striker that's trending in the right direction. If Chelsea want a proper 9, like a conventional, more traditional number 9, who's also got a bit of techers about him, he's like the guy. I've said it before, I feel like if we're going to keep the ball on the deck under Maresca, then maybe an Alvarez who can float. Again, we're playing against low blocks. If we're not going to be putting crosses in against low blocks, because Maresca doesn't do that, he's more of like a passing ball on the ground jobby, then you just want Alvarez every day of the week. But if you want a proper striker, and if you're not averse to putting crosses in, and you want someone that can win headers as well as doing the other things, Seško. So I've gone from like definitive Alvarez from choosing the two, and when I know more data, if I know exactly how Maresca wants to play, I haven't seen how many crosses Leicester put in last season, but I could make of a more educated opinion essentially. But I am on the fence. So I'm kind of, and I'm at loath to do this, but I defer to the sporting directors in their plan and have to sort of let them get on with it in that sense. All right, so goalkeeper. We're all talking goalkeepers. I'd be very, very shocked if Kepa's considered. We all know Marcus Bettinelli will remain third choice vibes man. I think the majority of people want a new goalkeeper, and the majority of those people, I don't want to speak for Chelsea fans, but I think they'd probably say, get us a new guy in and let Petrovic be second choice, and he'll have plenty of games to keep him happy with cups and, Conference League. And that's how I feel. Now, again, to cite this conversation I had with Goldberg yesterday, he's well educated, and he said on the show that he speaks to Bolka as well. I know he speaks to some Chelsea players. You won't mind me saying that because he said it on his playback stream. And he implied that he would not be averse to rejoining Chelsea. Now, my memory of Bolka is he was this really exciting goalkeeper, absolutely huge, which is always great for a goalkeeper. But didn't want to wait around for his chance, so pushed for a move or left. I don't know if he didn't re-sign or pushed for a move and ran off to PSG and didn't get his chance at PSG. Like, it just went too soon and too starry-eyed. Ended up going to Nice. He's had a good time in Nice. He's just been their first team goalkeeper all season, and he's had a good season in goal. Fine. So he's 24, which is very young for a goalkeeper. I know Gigi Donnarumma was 16 in goal for AC Milan when he was first choice, but that is very much an anomaly. You can have, if an outfield player is 35, you think, Radiek, get him a Zimmer frame, what's he doing out here playing at the highest level? But if a goalkeeper's 35, you're like, whatever. Like, yeah, no issues whatsoever. They could be the best in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just how I feel. Now, I'm going to read this article here. So quickly, like on Chelsea.news, I'm just going to read a couple of bits, and then I'm going to talk about how I feel about this situation. So, of course, Chelsea have been linked with Nice goalkeeper Bolka. Bolka was eighth of every player in the top 5 European leagues. So the top 5 European leagues, he was 8th in terms of goals conceded per 90, with Nice conceding 26 goals against them in the year. So an amazing defence there. Bolka's confidence behind a deep defence and a highly controlled style of play. Like, I don't think we'll have a deep defence at Chelsea, but we'll have a highly controlled style of play. Was a big part of that. Only Inter Milan, Leverkusen and Madrid conceded fewer goals all season. So, and by the way, 8th in 5 top leagues, right? So the best goalkeeper across 5 leagues, that's still 5 goalkeepers. And as a young goalkeeper, he's 8th. So he could be like, that's, if you think about it like that, it's really, really positive. Statistically, of course. He's also 8th in pure save percentage, which is a stat that's less affected by the style. So yeah, save percentage is great. It's, you can have the best defense in front of you in the world, or the worst, your save percentage remains the same. I know it's higher volume, it's hard to hold a save percentage, but yeah, to be 8th as well, it's a really good return for a 24-year-old. Some teams concede, but yeah. Anyway, his ability on the ball isn't in question either. Nice are one of the most possession-heavy teams, and Bolka was picked ahead of his rivals because he can handle that and play with the ball at his feet very, very well. A massive, scary goalkeeper with good footballing ability. That's 24 years old. It looks pretty good. My biggest, not qualm, but I spoke to Alex about this again. I said, look, man, call me traditional, call me old school. I want a big character in goal, like, a Petr Cech. And I really dislike Courtois for how he left Chelsea and a lot of his demeanour. And indeed, when he was at Chelsea, some of his behaviour wasn't great. But the last couple of years, he's, for me, like, hands down the best goalkeeper in the world. And even though he's a bit of a knob, he's a big character as well. And he's he's assertive. And we just, Kepa, not assertive, not a big character. Mendy, a little bit more, but I think Mendy sort of played above himself for a little while. Eternally grateful for his Champions League season with us. But, for me, he was never really like a Chelsea-level goalkeeper. And, Sanchez, Petro, all these guys, I don't feel like they're a proper Chelsea goalkeeper. And I want this guy. Like Martinez, I know he's north of 30 now, but I said it doesn't matter as a goalkeeper. He's a proper character. He's a great shot stopper. He's a really, ruthless. I know he made a mistake relatively recently, but, he's won the World Cup as well. But he's just he feels quite Chelsea to me. Do you know what I mean? Bringing in these kids, talented kids everywhere, fine. Up front, the talented wingers, strikers, flicks and, dribbles and assists or whatever. But I feel like as you get further back, you just need character and big boy essence to keep the goals out and keep people in front of you calm so the kids aren't panicking at the top and running around. No, it starts from the back. And if you've got this character, this kind of goalkeeper with an aura, the defence is he can command the defence. And not only that, the defence are calmer because they're we got this guy behind us. Not, Azpilicueta going, Kepa! When he doesn't claim that ball. So the aura bleeds forwards throughout the lines and into the team. So I know that's kind of like an unquantifiable thing that I'm talking about here, but football does have a lot of that, and it's important, man. So I said that, and again, Goldberg kind of made a case to me, and yeah, I'm down. I feel like I'm not completely sold, but I feel a lot better about the prospect of Bolka returning. But do you guys? As always, finishing the video asking for your opinions, please do leave them in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for supporting the content by liking and subscribing and hitting the bell and sharing and just generally being nice to each other. Alright, see you back here very soon. Keep it locked. Peace.